everyone, Comic Reviewer here, this time reviewing on Crisis on Infinite Earths, issue number 7. Now, as you know, this is the iconic cover that has appeared in parodies, references in other DC media, as well as in fan art. And this one is meant to feature, the death of Supergirl, and how, this cover is meant to be the iconic cover that has appeared in other media. So let's get on the story. The story starts off with Perith, Lila, as well as Alexander Luthor observing the remaining Earths and seeing the aftermaths of the last issue. We see how Dr. Savannah and Sabak wonder what's been going on. We see how Captain Marvel tries to confront them, but they escape and wonder what's going on, unaware that Brainiac's been recruiting them. And we kind of see how Captain Marvel says, "Are you sure all that's Supergirl? I mean, I'm not sure of anything anymore. First I tried attacking you, then don't worry about it, Cap. You seem better now." And we see how they try to make sense of everything that's going on. But we kind of see how, on Earth 2, we see how the new Wildcat is trying to make sense of how to talk with the other old generation of heroes. And we do kind of see how, the Earth 2 version of Oliver Queen, we see how Liberty Bell and the Earth 2 version of Atom wonder how their sort of teammate's going to recover after breaking his legs. And we see how the new Wildcat tries to wonder when she's going to try to be the sort of new hero the team needs to be. And we see how, Perith talks to the other heroes on Earth 4 and tries to kind of make sense with them to what's going on and try to bring Blue Beetle in forward. And we see how, on Earth X, the other heroes try to figure out what happened to them afterwards. And we see how other things from other Earths are trying to make sense with the crisis going on. And we see how, the original Earth 2 version of Superman and Earth 1 Superman are recruited by Alexander Luthor to learn about the origins of the crisis. And of course, we kind of see how, Perith, as well as Layla and everyone else, points out to what really happened. And back in the origin of Oa, we see how before the Guardians and the Green Lanterns were made, the Owens lived sort of peacefully. And we see how because of one rogue Oa citizen, known as Krona, who wanted to see the origin of the universe, we see how his actions unintentionally created the multiverse, as well as the sort of antimatter universe. And we see how, as punishment, he was exiled far away into the universe. And we see how the Owens created the Manhunters first, but because of it being a doomed project, they created the Green Lantern Corps. And we see how Owens eventually divided themselves and evolved into two different species. And we see how, eventually the Anti-Monitor was born and created his own army, which he eventually made as Shadow Demons. And we see how, the Anti-Monitor and the Monitor duked it out for centuries until being in suspended sleep. And we see how Perith basically explains what happened and how the crisis came to be. On his universe, he was a gifted scientist, but because of his arrogance and basically selfish behavior, he wanted to know about the secrets of the universe, and how his assistant Sandra tried to talk some sense into him. But we see how he tried to journey out further, and because of his sort of determination to learn about the secrets, unintentionally started the crisis, and watched as his universe was the first to be destroyed. And we see how, he unintentionally caused the Anti-Monitor to be born, and how the Monitor realised what happened and recruited Perif as his first agent. And we see how, even Superman says, "And you? How do you fit in here?" And it turns out the Monitor recruited Layla when she was from another universe and was basically shipwrecked on a sort of ship. And we see how, even she feels responsible for killing the Monitor. And we see how Lady Quark wants to kill Perif due to what happened to her Earth. And we see Uncle Sam saying, "This here Philly succeed plenty for what he did. Reckon now the time for us is to band together, not fight amongst ourselves." And we see how, other heroes are trying to make sense of what's happening with the crisis, how they feel weak and powerless and all that. And we do kind of see how, Alexander Luthor from Earth 3 uses his powers to channel it in to get to the Anti-Monitor's headquarters. And they mainly fly it through. But keep in mind the Anti-Monitor's universe works differently with the heroes from the Positive Matter universe. So their powers are going to be completely different and completely sort of unhinged. And we kind of see how, the Anti-Monitor says they come in their vain attempt to save their universe. Their only reward shall be death. No, Perif, not. Come to me, Psycho Pirate. And we see how he wants to use his emotion powers on the other heroes, but says he has to recharge, but of course is furious, so has to deal with the situation himself. And we see how, the other heroes have to deal with the things from the Anti-Monitor's universe. And we see how, they realise their powers aren't exactly going to be at their top potential. And we see how the other heroes have to deal with the other dangerous threats. And, we see how Supergirl and the original Earth 1 Superman has to deal with their own sort of disadvantages, but using their sort of super breaths and everything else. And we see how they try to make through with everything going on. And we see how, Dr. Light, as well as Superman, find a way to get into the Monitor. And we kind of see how, they find the Anti-Monitor's device and try to take it out. But we kind of see how, the Anti-Monitor's actions nearly put Superman in danger. And we see how Kara hears this and tries to go for the Anti-Monitor. And of course, we see the Anti-Monitor trying to duke it out with the original Earth 1 Superman. And of course, we see how Kara races in to stop the Anti-Monitor. And in doing so, we see how she gives her life to give the other heroes a winning chance, and mainly pummels down the Anti-Monitor, eventually killing her and the Anti-Monitor fleeing. And we see how the other heroes watch on as Kara gives her last breath, thanking Superman for everything that she did for her and for her giving a fighting chance. And of course, we see how the original Earth 2 Superman tries to calm the Earth 1 version down and tries to point out that Kara's sacrifice will be in vain if he tries to kill the Anti-Monitor. And we see how, on Earth 1, other heroes and people come to Supergirl's memorial service. And we see how, at the Fortress of Solitude, the original Earth 1 Superman gives Kara a proper burial and sends her off into space to give her her final last words. And this is the story. So I think issue 7 isn't too bad. I think the message of the story is that, sacrifice, loss, and pain is going to happen. And I can kind of get it that DC at the time wanted to make Superman the sole survivor. But of course, we know the post-crisis stories were going to happen. And that, eventually Kara will come back. Because after a hero's death, they're always going to come back